Alright, it is currently December 6th, which means we are getting closer and closer to December 14th, which is the release of the Yu Yu Hakusho live action adaptation on Netflix. So of course, they gave us one final trailer yesterday, and upon watching that trailer, I have some thoughts. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so first off, I want to say, I kind of do like the start of the trailer. I like how Koenma opens up this like scroll, and then you see like a newborn baby inside, like a video playing of a baby, and then he just starts like extending the scroll all throughout the room and stuff. It's like the scroll of life. Like I really like how they portrayed that, I guess. I think that was pretty cool. And then it like transitions into all these victims being obliterated by this one demon or this one yokai that's eating all of them. And I really like how the last like victim gets like roped in by this yokai's tail, and then the yokai starts to like, looks like he's about to eat him as he's like squashing him, like giving him that vice grip. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I like how that looked. But I will say the demon or the yokai itself did look a little, CG was maybe not the best looking, but it still looked pretty sick in like the first few moments that you see it. And then from there, we see Koenma like telling Yusuke about the hole, which I thought was kind of interesting because I feel like when Koenma's telling Yusuke about it, it seems like it's a pretty early on scene. So what that tells me is that they're probably going to skip a lot of, you know, build up when it comes to Yusuke and like him doing other spirit detective jobs and like him getting used to Botan and Koenma and the other characters. It seems like they're kind of skipping all of that, which is unfortunate because I feel like a lot of the charm of Yu Yu Hakusho comes from that and starts from that and builds up and everything. But it seems like they're giving Yusuke as his first job to sort of stop this hole. The hole that's, well, connecting the demon world to the human world from getting bigger. And I mean, I guess I understand it, but again, like them skipping that, it does feel a bit odd. And it's like, like that's cool and all, but I wonder if the charm of the show is still gonna be there, like the charm of the characters and everything. So, and also one thing I noticed is that Botan tells Yusuke, she's like, yeah, Koenma has a mentor picked out for you. And then we see Yusuke and Genkai training. So it seems like they're probably gonna skip that whole first arc of like all these fighters trying to get Genkai's blessing like in the beginning, which sucks because I really like that part. I really like that part, and I think it was pretty cool. And like, I don't know, I guess the story can still work without it, but I do feel like that was one of the cool things about Genkai is like Genkai's reveal, and you know how all these fighters, like every fighter in the world wants to like get Genkai's powers and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. The fight with Randall and everything, like I don't know, I guess, you know, skipping it makes sense, but it would have been cool to see. But yeah, speaking of which, the parts that we did see of Genkai and Yusuke training, we didn't really see too much of Genkai. Like we just see Yusuke where he's like laying on the floor, he's like, oh, she's a demon. But I hope that we actually do get to see a little bit of Genkai being a hard ass, because that's like what she is to Yusuke. And I feel like they really build this tough love sort of bond over the course of their training and Genkai's mentorship. And I feel like that's one of the coolest things about Yu Yu Hakusho, or at least one of the most heartfelt things, is like when Genkai is training Yusuke, she is such a hard ass on him, but at the same time, like you can tell that their bond is so strong and they really do love each other, because I mean, simply for the fact of like at the end, you know, Yusuke couldn't bear the thought of Genkai dying. That is such a beautiful relationship to see build up and unfold, and like there's so many layers and depth to it, and it's really just like, it's not forced either, it just pans out so nicely. So I feel like in a way them skipping parts of that is gonna make it not feel as special and not feel as, you know, great to watch. But hopefully there's at least a little bit of like callbacks or references or, you know, some similarities of that relationship to show in this live action. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Like I understand, you know, they gotta cut some things, but I would at least like to see some kind of similarities or like references to how amazing the relationship was in the anime / manga portrayed in this live action. But yeah, we also saw a better look at Kushina and like the teardrop, and then we see her like in that prison cell. So that kind of makes me think that at this point, I think it's safe to say they're not doing the tournament arc. Like I think they're just skipping the whole tournament entirely, and it feels like more of a rescue mission type of adaptation. It reminds me of that one part where it's before the dark tournament begins, but it's like the first part where Yusuke and Kuwabara go to fight Toguro like the very first time, and they go in like that mansion, I guess, and that's where Kushina is, right? I feel like what they're gonna do is basically make that part of the story into the climax, into the finale, and instead of doing the whole tournament arc and everything, when Yusuke and Kurobara first fight Toguro, they're probably gonna take that moment in the story and turn that into the climax, the finale of the story. So where everyone's gonna be there and try to fight Toguro. And I don't know exactly how I'm gonna feel about that. Again, I'm trying to keep an open mind and see, you know, how the story pans out from start to finish from this live action specifically, but I can already see why it might not end so well and why a lot of people might not enjoy it, to be honest. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not to say that this live action can't be enjoyable. It's just that, you know, there's already some big signs of story changes. And I mean, that's definitely going to make people feel a certain type of way, I guess you could say. So we'll see. But yeah, other than that, we did get a better look at Toguro's like final form, so to speak. And because like in the first trailer, he was mostly in his like first form, his like skinnier type of form, but then we see him a little bit bigger, getting, you know, like more swole, you know, he was getting more buff. And then we saw like towards the end, he's got that like final form with all those like veins popping like around him in his body and his face. So yeah, and to be honest, like now that we do see him, at least a little bit of him in like towards his final form, I don't think it looked all that good, to be honest. But again, trying to keep an open mind, trying to see how it does look in the final product, or, you know, at least when I watch it for myself fully, because, you know, we didn't see everything. We just saw a few shots maybe, but from what we did see, I wasn't really impressed, to be honest. It didn't look that good. But yeah, and again, we saw more of Botan, and she doesn't look great. I don't know what they were thinking with Botan, but she does not look good, like, at all. She does not look like Botan. Like, I don't, it's just, it's weird, man. It's weird. I feel bad because Botan was actually like so cool, like really dope character. I mean, all the characters in Yu Yu Hakusho are really cool and awesome, but I feel like Botan is definitely the one that got kind of butchered, unfortunately. And she was just like really cool, you know, like, I don't know, man, because like you see her in like the city and she's still wearing her kimono, whereas like when usually she would be in the real world, she would have like some drip on, you know, and like, I don't know, I thought that was cool, but it seems like they're not going to portray that aspect of Botan. So also, like, now that we get a better look at her, she just looks way older than she did in the anime, and like, I guess maybe they're trying to go for something different, but I don't know, it just, to me, this is definitely a different portrayal of Botan, and I'm not really a fan of it, to be honest, but again, we'll have to wait and see. Also, the way they all meet up seems kind of different. Like Yusuke, Hiei, and Kurama, in the trailer, it seems like they just kind of meet up, and Yusuke's like, "You're Hiei, right?" And Kurama, and like, you know, it seems like they're skipping that whole part where Yusuke and Hiei were rivals, and they had to like fight each other first, and then, you know, it just seems like they're skipping all of that, basically. And I mean, I'm just not really sure if the dynamic between, you know, the main four in the group is gonna be as solid or is gonna be as fleshed out as it is in the anime and manga. I mean, I guess that's to be expected, but I feel like, I don't know, I thought they would have at least tried, but it seems like now they're maybe just skipping a little bit and trying to, I guess, get these four together for this one mission kind of thing. Almost feels like an Avengers type of thing, but yeah, like, I don't know. I just hope that there's at least a little bit of signs of Yusuke and Hiei having a rivalry, or like Kurama and Hiei like knowing each other, or like, another thing I'm kind of interested in is how are they gonna portray Yusuke and Kuwabara, because if they're skipping like all of this stuff that's kind of like important and that told a lot of how these characters know each other, are they gonna skip the part where Kuwabara and Yusuke were kind of like, they knew each other for a while and like they had this sort of rivalry slash friendship kind of thing going on? Because I feel like that would be important if they were doing the Dark Tournament arc, but since they're not, I wonder if they'll just treat Kuwabara more as like less of a friend slash rival to Yusuke and more of just like someone that knew him. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, because we didn't see too much of Kuwabara in this trailer, and I don't know, that's got me thinking, like, are they gonna even have Kuwabara's sister in this adaptation, because she had a thing with like that millionaire guy that was, you know, trying to open up the black hole and everything? So it's definitely got me questioning a lot of things of what they're gonna do with this live action. I feel like from the first trailer I was a little bit more hopeful than I thought I was, just because I had my expectations really low, but now it feels like for every good thing that looks, you know, kind of good, kind of decent, there's something else that looks kind of bad. And I don't know, I guess I'm just not really sure how to feel right now, but luckily I don't have to wait too long because it's coming out in pretty much a week on December 14th, so we'll just have to wait and see. Also, one last thing I want to say, there hasn't been any official news of this being specifically a movie or a series or a show. I feel like I've seen articles where it said like, oh, this is a series, but those probably weren't super accurate, because now that I watched this trailer, I feel like this is without a doubt gonna be a movie. And I don't know if I've ever talked about it in a video before. I can't exactly remember if I myself said this was a movie or a series or whatever, because I remember in the beginning when it first got announced, it wasn't official if it was gonna be a movie or a series. And then I think somewhere it said it was gonna be a series. But now that I look at this, like, this to me is definitely looking like a movie. And again, it doesn't say like anywhere from Netflix, it just says live action adaptation. So, but this is definitely looking like a movie, especially if they're gonna skip so much. Like, why else would they skip that if they had time, as in like a series of episodes, to actually show those things? So I feel like this is gonna be a movie, but I guess it's also not 100% clear either. But yeah, that was just something else that I kind of thought of when watching this trailer. But those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? I'm really curious, especially for my Yu Yu Hakusho fans out there. What do y'all think of this trailer? And now that it's approaching us very, very soon, does this trailer excite you or make you more concerned about the live action adaptation of Yu Yu Hakusho? Let me know in the comments below. Please leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. That helps me out a ton. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I'll see y'all in the next video.